Are you looking to run your own security guard training school? Check out guardcardtraining.com. We have state-approved security guard training materials, professionally printed and bound student manuals, PowerPoint presentations, knowledge checks, and final exams. Everything you need to run your own program. Just open the box and start teaching. guardcardtraining.com.
Welcome to episode 13 of the Security Professionals Podcast. The binary nature of firearms. Welcome to the Security Professionals Podcast, brought to you by Security Training Center, LLC. This is your weekly source of news, tips, and education for the security specialist. I'm your host, Alex Haddix, and this is episode 13, The Binary Nature of Firearms. This week, as you might have guessed it, our topic is about firearms and their power. Whenever we draw a firearm, it is for one reason and one reason alone: to protect life. I know that sounds a little strange to deploy a lethal force tool to protect life, but sometimes using lethal force is necessary to stop a bad guy from killing or hurting innocent people. A firearm is a last-ditch, everything else has failed use of force solution. It is only used in the absolute worst-case extreme and at no other time. In the words of Massad Ayoob, the premier expert on the use of lethal force, deliberate use of lethal force is only appropriate in a narrow set of extremely specific set of circumstances. Quote, when there is an immediate and otherwise unavoidable danger of death or grave bodily harm to the innocent. That's it. That is when a firearm can be legally deployed. Firearms are binary. They're on or they're off. There is no gradient. The moment you draw your firearm, you are projecting lethal force. It's a heavy responsibility and should never be taken lightly or trivialized. The power of a firearm cannot be scaled. I want to scream when I hear someone say, he didn't have to shoot him in the chest, he could have shot him in the leg or the arm. First, when you pull the trigger, it's legally a lethal force attack. Period. It doesn't matter where the bullet landed. Second, movies make it look so easy to select a target like a hand or an arm or a leg. Those are impossible shots made to look easy with movie magic. Consider the stressors on the law enforcement officer, security guard, or private citizen. They're faced with a life and death decision with milliseconds to process the entire scenario and react. Hearts are racing, adrenaline is pumping, and everyone is frightened. Now add in bad lighting, yelling of scared bystanders, and innocents running in the background who may get hit by stray shots. Finally, add in the movement of the bad guy and the movement of the protector. Considering all of those factors and the fractions of a second to aim, please tell me how a perfect arm shot would be possible. It isn't. Here are some statistics. One of the best trained police departments in the country has a 64% accuracy rate in hitting targets under stress conditions during daylight hours. That number dropped to 45% in low light. Oh, and as many as 70% of police shootings occur in low light conditions. In an FBI report, an aggregate of the entire country's law enforcement accuracy rate was closer to 25% during daylight. So, under the best of circumstances, the accuracy rate in the daylight is going to range from 25% to 64%. During low light conditions, when most shootings occur, the hit ratio drops significantly. Let me drive that point home. On the low end, for every 4 shots fired, 1 hits the intended target. 1. So where do the other 3 shots go? Into whatever is beyond the target, including homes and businesses. On the high end, only 6 out of 10 shots hit the intended target. That means 4 still go off into the distance. So now considering that those shots are fired at center of mass, realistically, an aim shot at an arm or a leg is beyond the realm of human ability. It is a total myth and fallacy. Never forget that you are responsible for every bullet that leaves your barrel. You are responsible for the hits, the misses, and the through and throughs. I hope I've driven home the point that firearms are a lethal force defensive tool only. There is no gradient. They're binary. They're on or off. There's no sliding scale for firearms. The moment the handgun leaves its holster, you are bringing lethal force. Use that power responsibly and appropriately. Again, deliberate use of lethal force is only appropriate in a narrow and extremely specific set of circumstances. When there is an immediate and otherwise unavoidable danger of death or grave bodily harm to the innocent. This also leads us to another episode on less than lethal tools that can be used to fill the gap. We can't go from talking to shooting. We need to have the skills and tools to move up and even back down the use of force ladder as appropriate. And that's what we'll cover soon. Well, that will do it for this episode of the Security Professionals Podcast. If you have any tips you'd like to share with everyone, a comment on a show, or if you would like to suggest a topic for an upcoming episode, write into podcast@security-training-center.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 909-742-0649. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe.
When every moment matters and a life is saved, when someone gives blood, when a hand reaches out, that moment when heartbreak turns to hope, you're there through the American Red Cross. Down the street, across the country, around the world, you help save the day. Every day. Your support truly matters. You can help today. Visit redcross.org.
The Security Professionals Podcast is copyright Security Training Center, LLC. This work is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. An archive of previous episodes can be found at security-training-center.com/podcast.